You are now listening to The Backseat Critics, the movie review podcast.
All right, welcome back to The Backseat Critics. My name is Andrew, and over there we have not RJ. We have a special guest.
Today I decided to pop into The Backseat Critics. My name is Arthur. Hello.
Hey, how are you? Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for torturing me with this movie, but, you know.
So right off the bat, this is a podcast where we review movies that you should probably steer clear of, except this one.
I love how you say that, but they should definitely steer clear of this one. So just listen to the review and maybe you should understand why.
We're talking about Human Tornado from, I think, 1978.
Yeah, 1978.
Which, for those jumping into it, not a family-friendly movie. Don't go watch this with your kids. This is kind of out of the norm for us.
It's crazy because it said PG-13 when it popped up, which is crazy. Which is crazy to think about, like, now.
The amount of stuff.
Yeah, like, I was like, PG-13, okay, interesting. And then out the gate, it was like... This isn't PG-13
no.
at all.
No. Like hard R.
Mm-hmm.
Hard R.
According to nowadays. But you also got to remember PG-13 growing up was like, yo.
I don't think they had R until like 95 or something like that. 92?
I don't know. We'll have to look that one up.
Yeah, I'm going to have to fact check myself on that one.
Absolutely.
All right. So I'm just going to kind of go into a little bit here about Rudy Ray Moore.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Actually, I was not before this movie.
Okay. Have you read up anything about him?
I didn't do the deep dive into Rudy Ray Moore.
Okay. This is going to be a quick high level, but
Go
anyways, he wanted to get into movies for a long time.
Okay.
He pitched several ideas to studios. None of them would take, given time period.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so he started to like make and produce his own movies. And basically just whatever he wanted, however he was going to do it, he just went all out and did it.
Oh. I wish I would have known that beforehand, but okay.
And the guy, because he couldn't get distributors, like proper distributors.
Okay.
Like they were just handed out on the street.
That's crazy.
Just like bootleg.
That's crazy that you found this movie out of all the movies out there. That's, to me, still mind-blowing.
I saw this back in, I think, high school.
Wow.
And, yeah, all of Rudy Ray Moore's. This Dolomite, P.D. Wheatgrass, Disco Godfather.
Okay.
Fantastic.
So, I was talking to someone, and they had heard of they seen Dolomite. They grew up watching Dolomite. And so I was like, wait, I have never seen it. So I have to go back now and watch Dolomite. And then
it's not going to help this one make any more sense.
Absolutely not. But I heard of P.D. Wheatgrass, but I've never seen it.
It's as wild.
Oh my God! Here we go. Climb into this hole. Come on now.
So you want to dive into the first topic? Talking about characters.
Oh, let's talk about characters.
Oh no, I forgot to record something for the characters. So here's something. Characters. Who are they? What are they doing? I don't know what.
Okay. Ooh, I need all the names though. I don't know the names completely. But one of my first characters was definitely the main character. Dolomite himself. Just the entrance on the beginning of like his stature and status, and it became very present that like he was the top dog in town, and he just brought a lot of like serious comedy to the movie. I feel like you can tell he was trying to be funny, but it was like serious at the same time. And you're just like, wait, huh? Which I feel is like the whole movie, but it was like, but he definitely like he brought that, so that definitely would be my number one character. What about you?
I'm completely in lock and step with you. It's hard to watch a Dolomite movie and not enjoy his character.
Yeah.
The dude is chewing up all of the scenery. He's all over the place. Right off the bat, we get the "You for real" line, which you just lose it.
You for real? Oh my god!
And then during the escape, he does that dive off the cliff, and then they pause and rewind. He's like, "You don't think I did the stunt?
He said, you don't think I did this?" I was like, "What?" Oh,
I love the guy's energy.
Oh my goodness!
The fact that he's hitting oddly serious topics, like for that time period,
absolutely,
but in such a tongue-in-cheek way, and I love that mix.
Yeah, when we get into scenes,
the fighting.
I'll come back to that scene of him diving off the cliff as one of my scenes. Okay. But there's a part in that afterwards that I was like, that didn't make no sense. But okay, we'll keep going.
Oh, just quickly, I know this is backtracking a bit about Rudy Ray Moore, but the guy, he used to do kind of spoken word comedy.
Okay.
Over live music,
and
he would rhyme with it, which is why he's kind of considered like the godfather of rap, because he was kind of that first kind of spoken and rhyme with music in the background. You get a ton of that in this movie where he's just rhyming away with his one-liners, two-liners.
Yep, no, he definitely has those. He definitely comes with.
So yeah, just a little more background on him.
Interesting. But I didn't know that. Okay. Putting me up on game right now, Andrew.
All right. Who's your number 2?
I would have to surprise you with this, but it was just a quick moment.
Okay.
But the mom. The screaming mom. So, in this moment of like appear just like what the hell just happened, and so the guns get pointed. The fight breaks out. The girl takes off running, and the mom just breaks out screaming.
Just wailing.
For no reason. I'm just like, oh, there's no point of her. Like,
no.
At all.
She's just screaming away.
Oh, my gosh. That was hilarious. I was like, yo, why is she screaming?
We were all wondering that.
Yeah. So,
anyways.
What's yours?
So, I'm kind of split on this, but I'm going to go with Queen Bee. Lady Reed.
Mm-hmm.
Her and Rudy Ray Moore, Dolomite.
Mm-hmm.
Like peas in a pod.
Yeah, that's
in
true.
both real life and in the movie. So it's hard to separate those two.
Interesting. I didn't know.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to her. She was fun in the movie. She had her little cohort of hookers and dancers.
Yeah,
but
she did. She definitely she brought the show from the lady side.
Yeah. So, and I appreciated how she was stuck in a situation where she needed rescuing, but she wasn't that damsel in distress.
Mm-hmm.
So
she never played herself down. It was still up positively.
She could definitely like get herself out of situations, which she did throughout the movie. So I appreciated that.
Interesting. Okay. My third one.
Am I zoomed in enough here? Do you need me to go for third?
What's it? Herb Graham, the owner, the club owner.
Cavaletti.
Yeah. Just from his assertiveness as like the villain in the show or the movie. I said the show. In the movie. Mm-hmm. And like he brought like this old Italian mob boss.
Yeah.
Like it's and he made them like shut down the other club so he could bring in these folks to dance at his club and make him money, which was, historically, it was just like a historic piece too in a sense, but it was definitely like, I was like, okay, they needed a bad guy, and how do they like establish this? And they started it out the gate with him like that, so it was pretty interesting.
What were your thoughts with was it Sheriff Bentley?
Oh my God, this dude. He was a lot. Yeah, he was a lot.
he's not my number 3, but I'm just curious because he was also like a major villain.
But I think his part kind of got pushed out the way.
Yeah.
Early, like after that opening scene, he was like the initial guy.
Yeah.
But it even after dealing with I don't even know, Cavallini.
Cavalletti. I have to keep looking back.
Yeah, Cavalletti. After dealing with him, like having that conversation between those two, you can tell who actually ran the show.
Yeah, you can.
And so it was
absolutely can.
It was pretty interesting with that relationship. So,
just quick aside, Sheriff Bentley, 100% looks like Kenny Loggins.
Oh my God.
Anyways, mine number 3 is going to be a fairly small role.
Okay.
You know what? No, I'm actually changing it. Because I was going to go with Ernie Hudson as Bo.
Bo wasn't he like the right-handed man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Sheriff Bentley.
Oh my goodness.
I know I said I wouldn't.
Why Sheriff Bentley, huh?
I thought he was not good by any means, but like he got the movie going in the worst way, and he was this good kind of overarching bad guy for when Cavalletti wasn't there. He really kind of helped speed things up plot-wise.
Yeah, that's true.
When Dolomite was like starting to take down Cavalletti's clubs and going after Cavalletti, the cops started like closing in on Dolomite because this guy kept pushing.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah,
I got to give number 3 to him, not because of like the character himself, as wild as that guy was, but just a wildly racist.
Oh my God.
But just because like what he kind of contributed plot-wise.
Yeah, I definitely I see that a lot. Yeah, it's pretty.
I do appreciate also how all of the racist people in this are just kind of idiots.
For me, it goes back to like ignorance is bliss, right? Like even from the opening scene of the lady and the dude in the car, and it opens out with the N-word, like out the gate, and that was when I was like, why am I watching this? But
sorry,
no, I mean, it brings a lot of context. So I think the story in which and why it was created. Right, there was no harm being done with the party. No. They're actually promoting something positive.
Yeah, it was like a school for children,
a boys' home.
Yeah.
So the party was literally designated for a boys' home for underserved youth in the community, and Dolomite was donating it to the person who began the foundation for this boys' home. So he was donating his house to this. Yeah. So they were having a house party, and to see the venture of this boys' home. So it was like a positive celebration that got ruined
because some people saw it, thought it was
something else.
Yeah.
And it's like, and even how the police officers walked in, it was guns blazing, we're ready to kill, and even the officer before getting in there, if you see anything suspicious, shoot to kill.
Yeah.
So, and it's just this dynamic of, I think, especially during that time period of like the real explanation of just ignorance is bliss, like judging a book by its cover and not by what's actually in the context of this book. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting. Yeah.
So, appreciate you watching this.
Yeah.
So you want to dive into scenes?
Scenes, let's get it.
We're off to talk about scenes. The magical wizard of scenes.
I'm so confused. All right. What's your number 1?
Oh, my God. So my number 1 scene happens to be like the weird scene in the beginning. So he's rolling down the hill with his clothes. He gets in the car and his pants are on. And the camera pans away and comes back, and his jacket and hat is on.
Yes.
And I'm like, how did he roll down the hill?
He's got the full denim jumper and matching hats.
Yo.
Yeah.
Instantly. And I was like, yo, what the heck just happened? Like, I was like, this couldn't have been real. But I was like, okay, but it is this movie. So.
Yeah.
Oh, and, but so that's definitely my number 1 scene. So.
Okay. My number 1 is not going to be PG scene.
Oh, Jesus.
there's a few to pick from here. But it's going to be a classic kind of Dolomite scene where he's interrogating the woman, asking her where Cavaletti is hiding.
Yep.
Doing his little tango. And
oh my God.
She's having some hallucination of some dudes coming out of a box.
Oh my God.
And they're sliding down a slide.
And she's like naked and they're just sliding into her. And it's just the whole, oh my God.
But then we cut back and Dolomite and her are doing a duet. And the whole, the bed was on what looked like a lazy Susan being shook back and forth.
Oh my God.
And the walls started falling and the chandelier falls. There's a little fire on the set. The ceiling falls on top of them.
Yep.
And they just keep going. You know what? That's my number one because it had me in tears the very first time I saw this movie. It had me in tears this time too. It's hard to pass up.
That scene is my number 2. It threw me for a freaking loop because I was so confused on her fascination and fantasy of all these different people. It wasn't just him.
Right.
It was like...
It was a whole group.
It was a whole group of people.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo.
There was like 4 or 5 of them, yeah. Just all coming out of this toys box.
I was like, what the heck is going on? And then the ceiling coming down and she's like... halfway on the bed.
On the bed.
Cavaletti's in something. I can't even remember.
She's like her head's on the floor. Her torso's over the edge.
Oh my God. I was like,
freaking love this movie, man.
What the heck just happened? What did I just watch? Yeah.
I appreciate you.
Oh man.
So my number 2 is towards the end of the movie, kind of during the climax. He's at Cavaletti's place, and he's fighting, and it is some of the worst fighting ever. He learned a lesson from Dolomite, because in Dolomite, there's a scene where he's fighting a guy in like the driveway, and they're just throwing a punch, and it's super slow. So here, they actually sped up the footage, and it just looks cartoonish. And they're still, like, missing by, like, 2-3 feet, and the hit is still hitting.
Oh, my God.
And he does this, like, weird kind of jump up, like, 2 stories up to, like, a balcony. And he's just kicking people and throwing people. And there's a part where you see, like, a hooker with her hands over some guy's eyes and, like, ketchup packets. Like, obvious, like, ketchup packets just, like, out both sides. And it's so cartoony, and it's trying to be violent, but it's not. It's funny.
Far from violent at all.
But, yeah, no, that's my number 2.
My number 3, we talked about it before the show. They're standing out trying to wave a car down. And what is it dude just standing there with his shirt off?
He's like,
they're trying to wave
I can stop a car.
He said, I can stop a car. And he's standing there with his shirt off trying to get car's attention. And this car pulls up. Or no, he passes him and stops. Then he comes back and he's like, ends up being a
gay guy?
Oh, I can say that? Okay, I wasn't sure. Okay, he ended up being a gay dude on here. In the car, and Jesus, and so he's like, I'll give you a ride if you give me a ride. And all of a sudden all of them come down from the hill
just around the car,
and they're like, get your ass, move your ass over or something like that.
Yeah.
And so they all get in the car and they're driving. He's like, I've never been kidnapped before. And you're taking me to California. He's like,
I'm with a bunch of dudes.
He's like, I'm living out my fantasy. I started laughing. It's just the pure comedy and in this movie. And it's crazy in an era of which that wasn't really popular of showing someone of like homosexuality. Yeah. In movies, the way he presented it wasn't like it was overbearing.
No. it was nice that they handled it well. He wasn't like a early 2000s like bad, but he was still like positive for the most part. It was funny. It was definitely like a comedic role, but
absolutely,
it was in a positive light.
Yeah, and I think it made me laugh out of intentionality because of how they dressed it, but it was funny overall. Like, it just was a funny scene. But I just was like, for me, it was like, this feels like an atypical scene for this movie. Like, this feels like an atypical scene for this movie.
Man, that bathroom stop.
Oh, my God.
That screaming woman.
Oh, my God. I forgot about that one, too. Oh, he walks into the bathroom.
He's like, man, I gotta pee.
He's like, this is what this is for anyway. He just pees in the sink while this lady's peeing on the toilet.
She's just screaming.
And hitting him with his purse. Or hitting her with her purse. I was like, oh my goodness. What am I watching? He just looks at her just with the craziest face. Like, I just gotta go pee. I don't care. I don't even care.
I love his decency that he's like, I gotta pee inside, not outside in the bush.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't care if someone else is there.
He said, I just gotta go pee. That was hilarious. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is the escape right at the start.
Oh my God.
Right from that, you for real?
Oh my God.
Line to that dive where he's like, rewind. Hey, you don't think I actually did that stunt?
Yeah,
and plays it again. To that whole chase through like that kind of mining area where they went through the tunnel and then he pops out with the gun.
Where did that gun come from?
It doesn't matter, dude.
They
needed it.
He just magically appeared with a shotgun because he shot the dude with a pistol. He shot the dude with a pistol. So where did the shotgun come from?
Hey, at the end of the movie, spoilers. Rudy Ray Moore's character, Dolomite, he gets shot like 5 times in the back. He's down on the ground dead. And he just gets up.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my gosh.
So what's your number 3? Did you already touch on that?
Yeah, I already did my number 3.
I'm losing track here.
Yeah, you are.
I'm slipping.
Too much of this movie. Yes, you are.
As soon as you leave, I'm jumping right back into another one.
Oh man.
All right. Do you want to dive into what moments? I'm sorry, what? We could absolutely do more than 3, because I know this movie is chock full with them.
So one of my what moments was actually towards the beginning when the lady shows up, the white lady shows up initially, right?
Oh yeah.
He walks her into the room.
Yeah.
And he was like, closes the door, and he's like, get undressed and I'll be back. And he just walks out. Like, there's nothing. Like, and she just, like, slowly takes off all her stuff.
This is our introduction to Dolomite.
Oh, absolutely. And then he, like, comes back, and he goes, I'm not going to make this take long at all. And I wasn't sure. Was she paying him to have sex?
I wasn't totally clear on that either, because it's kind of insinuated that he's kind of a pimp with some ladies, but I don't know. Just because of the history with like Queen Bee.
But because it was also he was like, I'm gonna give you what you paid for.
That's true.
And so I was like, she must have paid him. Okay,
that's true. It's true. I mean, if you go with either Dolomite or Kenny Loggins, who are you picking?
Dolomite.
Every time.
No, 100%. 100%. So, what's your first what moment?
My first what moment is actually going to be, there's a point that they stop by a witch in the basement of just some building, and she's just concocting random stuff. And she's got like the typical like witch hair, the little crook nose and all that stuff. And at the very end, they take Cavaletti there, and he puts down this cage of rats and opens it up, and he's like, I'm going to let these rats take care of you. And we cut. Dolomite is hiding behind a washing machine as the cops are running by, somehow not noticing Dolomite, whose head is sticking up like 2 feet above this washing machine.
Oh my goodness.
And the rats are chewing only his privates.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
But just that whole setup between the witch woman and her obsession with snakes and scaring the prostitutes to her having rats and the rats chewing only one part of the villain.
That movie, man. Oh my god. You never know which direction it was going to go in. I think there's like multiple moments where you're just like, what? No.
But that's what I love about this. Is This is like everything is just out of left field.
Yeah. My other part is when they went to Cavalletti's Club the first time, and they sit down, and the waitress comes over, and she's like, "Can I get you guys anything to drink?" And Queen Bee goes, "No, I need you to give this to the drummer." Or not the drummer. Was it? No. It was the...
It was one of the players up there, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think it was the drummer.
Yeah, I think it was a drummer.
And it just like panned the camera to him, and then they like leave the scene. It was like, wait, what? Like, what was the point of that? Like, what was the point of the camera panning on the drummer and then they're gone? Like, they're not in Cavaletti's anymore.
No.
Oh my goodness.
My what moments happens a couple of times throughout this movie, but just where randomly throughout the movie they would cut and just have like 3 minutes of just music in the clubs, just somebody gyrating on the floor, and some of the most perverse moves I've ever seen.
Oh my goodness.
And some obviously like they played the music, but then also the person wasn't singing it because they weren't even trying to like sing it. They weren't timed up right.
No.
There was like
not at
you would hear
all.
the voice singing, and then the person would step into the mic 10 seconds later and start singing. It's like, wait,
you're behind. But
you're way behind. But there would just be like 3-minute chunks of just a song and dancing with no explanation.
Nothing at all.
I love it.
Ooh. Okay. Another what moment? Oh, I'm trying to think.
There's so many.
There's a ton, but I think this is where it gets foggy for me. I think another what moment we've kind of already tapped into, but there's like in the opening scene, the two people in the car, they're like driving up this hill and like running into these random people, and you see these two people like play fighting.
Oh yeah,
on the top of the hill, and I'm like, what the hell are y'all doing? And they're like on the edge of the cliff,
right,
play fighting in front of this house, and then it pans back to them, and they're sitting in the front, just talking.
You
know, I was like,
they're just like lounging back, just like, yeah.
Like,
we're fine.
Like, I was like, wait, you guys were just on the edge of the cliff of this house play fighting, and then now you're all sitting down just chilling.
This
like,
movie did not care about continuity.
No, at all. Like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Yeah, that was my third what moment.
Okay. My what moment, third what moment is going to be, you might be foggy around this time, but there was a nunchuck guy that came in at the party at Cavaletti's, and he was introduced, and he came out wearing nothing but like a leopard print Speedo. And he had this like long hair.
Yeah.
He was pale,
perfect
small,
70s
thin
character.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's just standing in front of the crowd, and he just pulls out these nunchucks and just starts whipping them around. And everyone just kind of gathers around like, it's some spectacle, and this dude's just like whipping it around. And it's like, what kind of party is this?
Well,
Like, I know we introduced the nunchuck guy for later during the fight, but like, what?
he just came out of the blue. He just random.
And just in his underwear.
Mm-hmm.
Later in the fight, he's like fully clothed too. So it's like
the complete opposite.
Wouldn't you want to be like less clothed during a fight?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. This is crazy. This movie definitely teetered into like what? And there's some entertainment there. It's like definitely comic relief satire. Like it's just it's one of those movies that like you can't take too serious because it's not serious at all.
No, not at all.
It's like not serious at all. I mean, and I think there's, like you said in the beginning, there's definitely some educational moments in it. And if you can piece those together and kind of learn from that perspective, I think it's an okay movie.
I'm going in here a bit biased because I chose this movie because I love this movie.
Your love is weird.
Hey, this is why I do this podcast. I love bad movies.
No, I see.
But no, I'm with you. Like its continuity is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
The action is comical.
Mm-hmm.
But like it never really takes itself too seriously, even while it's kind of exploring real life topics that maybe are much more serious.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I enjoy that kind of weird line that it walks, as well as it's kind of the motivation of like Rudy Ray Moore to like do this stuff and get it out.
Yeah.
Like that on top of like, despite like how bad the movie is, it's like that's super impressive to me. So I don't know. I'd give it like I'm gonna honestly say like an 8.
Wow.
Just not on like a good movie, but just like entertainment.
Interesting.
And just kind of with that background.
Interesting. So you gave it the number because of
just for like entertainment level. I'm not saying it's like an 8 compared to like The Godfather. But just I want to sit down. I want to watch something fun.
Yeah. I think it definitely reminds me of a stand-up. Like if somebody were to be talking throughout this movie, which it kind of happened.
Yeah, we start off with the stand-up routine of him just
yeah.
He's just roasting his whole audience.
Oh my gosh, yeah, literally. But I think if it continued, like of him telling a story, right? Like if it showed originally how it did, him standing up, doing the stand-up, and then telling the story, and the story would be acting out as if this movie was, it would be phenomenal because there's so many parts into this that it really does feel like someone's comic story. Like it's like someone's real comic story. So with that, I would give it like a 6.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
That's definitely higher than I thought you were going to give it, to be honest.
I think overall when you piece it together, you can't look at it in a whole piece. You got to look at piece by piece. And I think each piece gives you something to just laugh at. In a like, what the moment? Like, you're just like, huh? Like, what? But I think it takes you out of the reality of, like, our world and say, like, let's just enjoy this, like you were saying. Like just put something out that you can just enjoy. And not have to judge or not have to worry about.
And this time I'm realizing that we forgot to do a 2-minute summary.
Mm-hmm.
And since you are the guest.
Oh, man. I have to do the 2-minute summary.
You want to go for it? I'll start the...
Oh, Jesus. Here
we
go.
We don't need the timer.
Here we go. So we're going to do an end of the podcast 2-minute summary of the movie. So
trying something really new here.
Yeah, it's very weird. So
I'll edit it in later.
There's a character named Dolomite, and he is a black successful man who ends up being on the run from the police. And in this process, a lot of his safe haven places that he usually goes get shut down by one specific character. And so he's trying to find this character and kill this character in order for him to get his places back open. And there's a lot of other stuff that happens throughout the movie, but to me, I think that's the basics.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
He does take down the guy.
Yeah.
He does get shot at the end
Yeah.
by the sheriff, but he just gets back up, laughs, and the movie ends.
So, yeah. 2-minute summary.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any final shout-outs, thoughts?
To the people, I think it's a movie that will definitely shouldn't be watched with children. But you should take an opportunity to check out what would you call it, like indie film, quote unquote.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
'Cause it definitely has that feeling. And
It's got that homemade touch.
Oh, absolutely. And a lot of comic relief when it comes to just not like purest comedy but it's more of like weird comedy. And it just depends on your flavor of comedy that you like. But
yeah.
I think it's something that might tickle your stomach a little bit.
Sweet.
What about you?
Oh, I was just going to shout out some other podcasts.
Oh, we can do that too.
I was going to shout out the Play No Games.
Hey.
Which I know somebody's a part of.
Yeah, absolutely.
So go check them out if you haven't. If you want to know more about Dolomite, but you don't want to stomach the movie, Eddie Murphy actually did a really good job in 2019 with Dolomite Is My Name. It's kind of a biopic about Rudy Ray Moore and his making of the movies. For honestly, the first movie in like 20 years I've seen Eddie Murphy like really try at. So
interesting.
Yeah, I think you can watch on Netflix maybe. I forget.
Interesting.
But yeah, Dolomite Is My Name. Go check that out. On that.
So one more shout out.
Yeah.
So for those that listen to Backseat Critics continuously, not only they shout out the Play No Games podcast, but we're also going to give a shout out to Switching Stands podcast as well.
Thank you.
And they are a MMA podcast that talks about combat sports. And if you're a sports person, I know movies and sports sometimes don't mix, but they might mix for you today. Check them out. It's a great podcast to listen to, especially if you're into the physical violence of sports. So this movie doesn't do it, but they do it.
They do it. They definitely do it. All right. So do you want to let people know where they can find you, or are you good?
You can find me on Instagram at Chef Bora Dixon. Yeah. So.
All right.
Or you can go to the Play No Games podcast and check us out on there.
Definitely do that.
And I'll be on there as well. So thank you for the invite, man. It's been a blessing.
Yeah, no, thank you
for watching. This is long overdue.
Yeah,
I think I've done one with you guys before. Babes in Toyland.
Yeah. Okay, I gotta ask, which one do you like more?
Oh Jesus, they both were terrible.
Oh man.
But I definitely would take this one over Babes in Toyland.
Sweet.
100%. Babes in Toyland was just too much weird. This was a little bit more enjoyable weird.
Yep.
Sweet. Right. Thank you.
All right.
Have a good one.
See ya. We out.
Peace.